Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. And with that being said, getting some weekly preparation for the upcoming week. All right, guys, we are going to start off here with SPY. We're going to go over the indices. We're going to talk about these weekly charts. Then we're going to go over the FANG stocks, and then we have the semiconductors, and then Bitcoin and the Bitcoin stocks that will be following that. And then I have 10 to 20 trade ideas going into the following week at the end of the video for you. Let's dive into it. So first thing I am going to point out is we did get the break and retest last week on SPY, and as of this week, we have now started that continuation style move. I don't think downside is going to come immediately next week. I am just letting you guys know ahead of time. All of these charts that we're about to take a look at do suggest we have short-term upside incoming. I'm not saying we don't put in a topping tail next week or something like that, but what I'm definitely going to say is none of these weekly charts suggest we're getting immediate downside. So we should be looking at it as it is safe to assume we're probably going to be seeing some more upside next week. So that is going to be the bias going into next week. And I just want to preface the video with that. All right, so break and retest over here in SPY. You did pop up to a new high. You did end up hitting that 580 psych level. You had a high of 580.33. Now, above here, guys, we are just going to be looking for that next psych level at 585. There's not really much for us to go off of, but, these are going to be acting as magnets. You can see, we stalled out for 2 weeks here with the high being right around that 575 level right here at 574.71. And as of now, we did, following week there, pop up to, 2 weeks later, pop up to 580. All right, so we'll be watching 585 as, your next psychological resistance there. Above 580.33, that's what we're paying attention to. Now, support for this week, we're going to be watching 577.71, 574.71, 572.55, and 569.80. I don't think we are going to come down and test these levels this week. I think we are probably going to continue higher, and if we pull back, I think it's going to be from higher levels, and that is just my personal opinion. Notice how this daily RSI really has not gotten overbought yet. I know there are a lot of people calling for, it's on Twitter I'm seeing, there are a lot of people calling for some bearish price action right around the corner, and I am just going to say nothing on these charts suggests that we have bearish price action right around the corner. People are calling for, end of Elliott wave cycles and stuff like that after SPY runs up to like 595, 600. I'm just going to say, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't do Elliott wave, but I will be here 5 to 6 days a week to cover price action as we go for all of us. So if you are new to the channel, that is what you can expect. We'll be going over everything we go over today in this video. Besides the trade ideas, we do that every day of the week. And then the weekend updates, the weekly updates, we call them, we do have the 10 to 20 trade ideas going into the following week as well. All right. So, for the time being, guys, we don't have a reason to be bearish. That's what I want to, make it very clear throughout this video here. We don't have a reason to be bearish in the short term. We're going to come over here to QQQ. And on the weekly chart, almost the same look at as SPY, except you do not have a new all-time high as of last week. But I do want to point out you are 2% away from an all-time high. I do think we're going to hit that this week. That's just my personal opinion here with how these charts are set up here. We have the semiconductors looking like they semiconductors. They look like they're absolutely going to rip. And, this one had this high over here. You came back and you retested this ugly double bottom neckline here. You have a low, you have another low. This was the neckline of that. You came back and retested it, and now you're going along your way. And I do have to assume you're going to make your way up to a new all-time high above 503.52 in the short term. All right. So that is definitely, something to be bullish about. We got SPY looking like it's going to continue. We have QQQ. I'll show you IWM, DIA, all four major indices, guys. They do suggest we're going to begin some upside here. And then Bitcoin is also aligning with those. I do think we have solid odds of seeing new all-time highs over here on big tech. And that means those big tech names are going to probably follow. All right. Or at least catching a nice bounce there. Okay. So above 493.69, we're going to come down to the daily time frame. You get this little 3-day range going on, 2.5-day range, whatever you want to call this. All right. You clearly do have a big level here at 493.69. You have sellers stepping in 3 days in a row. If you bust above there, we have to assume you're probably going to take a straight shot up to 498.44. All right, so this range here you're in is a $3 range. Above here, probably get an equivalent move that almost brings you to the next resistance. Sorry, I get the hiccups. Always get the hiccups when I'm recording videos. I don't know why. I have not been able to get away from that for like, 1 to 2 years now. So that's okay. Support, guys, we are watching 490.63 and 487.88. And then, if we really do end up coming all the way back down here, all right, you're looking for buyers to defend the zone. I don't think we're going to come back down there. That would be a pretty ugly look if we did. So that's just, why I don't think we are going to come back down the right way. I do think, the structure suggests we're probably going to make our way up here. And if you come back here, that is not a good look. So you also have the daily 9 right here. So if you pull back into these levels, chances are that daily 9 is just going to catch up with price. And then you're going to get a bullish reaction off of that. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to hold, but at least you're going to get that dead cat bounce off it with all likelihood. That is that. All right, above 493.69, we have 498.44 and then 503.52. Looking real good over here on the NASDAQ. Now, IWM, guys, this thing is about to explode, it looks like. It has been full of tricks recently, but in the, grand scheme of things, we've been pretty consistent with just pointing out the whole freaking time, ever since like right around here when we had this little like down over there. We were saying that it is definitely consolidating in this flag-like manner. And, worst case scenario, you're going to come down to 212.25. Here you can see on the weekly time frame, that is where you just broke out from. You have a massive range here, multi-year range, okay? That is 2 years of range. You consolidated above that for a very long time. 6-7 months right there, it looks like 8 months maybe. And now you are pushing off of that. I do also want to point out on the weekly time frame, I know we got a bunch of lines there, but you literally are just holding that weekly 9, and it looks like you were probably going to be using that to get something like that going, another push up. Now I want to talk about some targets for this move. First things first, this high right here at 224.94, I think that's probably going to be hit in the short term, 1 to 2 weeks, I'm thinking. And these are the things that suggest to me that, I'm seeing all these bearish charts. Like I saw 3 bearish NVDA charts calling for like a move down to 120 yesterday. I'm like, dude, are these freaking, like, I'm either an idiot or other people are idiots. It's one or the other. And, I like to think I'm not the dumbest guy. But, you come over to a chart like this and like, I really just got a question. How the heck did these guys have big followers? Give me your freaking followers. You're leading them off a cliff. All right. Like, I'm serious. How do people actually follow along with this crap and then consistently follow along with it and not just leave these people's channels? I don't understand. All right. That's Twitter. I actually got pissed off the other day at my mistake, and I decided I'm going to take a step back from even looking at the whole Twitter bias and stuff like that. I pretty much unfollowed everybody who, I don't consistently interact with over there on Twitter. And, anyone who I just thought was noise. That was the vast majority of people, turned out. I went from like following like 200 people down to like 30 something. And this is an exact reason. I don't need these things in my mind. You don't need these things in your mind. And we're not going to let it affect us. A lot of people are just, they don't use common sense. It's not anything crazy. You don't have to have these crazy patterns or anything. First things first, this thing just broke out from a pennant. It hasn't even hit the all-time high. That is the immediate target for this breakout, would be this high over here. You have not hit that. Okay? So first things first, that's, a reason to think we're probably going to be going higher. Why? Since when do you ever get structure like this and not go higher? It makes no sense. All right, I know $3 trillion company, but it still makes no sense. Now, second thing I'm going to point to, go look back over the years on this chart. When do you get a candlestick like this reaching a high, like not even reaching a high, just when do you get a candlestick like that is followed with immediate downside? That makes no sense. I saw 2 charts that just kind of had an arrow from around current price, and pretty much they suggested NVIDIA is not going to be breaking above this 136.15. Instead, it's going to be stalling out. Guys, go look back on the chart. Here, you went a little higher. Oh, you had a pullback, but then you went higher. All right, over like these are the type of candlesticks we're working with. These like wide body green bars. You closed out by the high, and on top of that, you have a fresh breakout and like 2 breakouts here, 3 breakouts here. You got the pennant breakout, inverse head and shoulders breakout. And then you also do have a break above this 130.75 high, which, we were saying break above 127.67. Okay. We thought you were starting to move up to 140.76. it does seem to, you know, have been proved that is exactly what's happening. How are people posting bearish charts in this thing? Like all of these, all right? You get a candlestick like we just got. You're at least getting a topping tail the following week, which means price is going higher. Now, again, I don't think anybody has a reason to look for downside in this thing until we hit 140.76. It has been a long time coming. You've had a whole crap ton of consolidation. This is not a company that's, you know, doesn't have strong fundamentals to back price action. You know, this thing is probably going to bust up to all-time highs. Do yourself a favor and stop getting bearish. Stop looking at these people who are, you know, suggesting these foolish things. All right, the naysayers, they will literally never win. You want to be pessimistic on the market, you won't win. Maybe we're going to have a multi-year bear market, maybe not. We will see ahead of time when price action is telling us that things are looking rough. Right now is definitely not that time. So, you know, take advantage of things while they're hot. I think now is a great time. Great time. And I'll let you know, all right? I'll let you know when it's time to take your foot off the gas. And, you know, there's that. No financial advice on this channel. But there's that. Now, back over here to IWM, guys. Weekly hammer candlestick off the weekly 9. I know you didn't have increasing volume on that, but, you know, you can see a clear as day bull flag breakout over here. On the upside is resistance. We have 222.45, and then I think you're going to have a straight shot to 224.94, 226.64 above there. That's the high from over here. And then 230, all right, which is actually 229.84. Show you where that level is derived from. Over here, you got some reactions. Boom, 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 boom. Those are your reactions. Probably about to see a fourth reaction right over here I've tested. All right, so that's what we're watching as resistance. As support, we have 221.13, 219.98. I have that candlestick right here. And then we have 218.37 underneath there. We do have 215 after seeing this, and the fact that you broke above this high right here. It probably is not going to, you know, lead to price coming back down here. You're probably going higher. All right, so that's IWM for you. DIA, we literally pointed this out the other day, right before the move actually happened. I was looking for, you know, it doesn't have to be something crazy, just 1 to 2% higher. You're probably about to have that leg up from here. You're back testing the top of that range. You know, we typically don't see these things followed by immediate downside. Everything looked crazy bullish, guys, all right? Also, we pointed out on TIA the other day, you have these lower wicks sitting here. 3 back-to-back lower wicks. Like, we typically see these things right before, like, that's your base, okay? Like, you're going to hear me refer to bases on this channel. Price consolidates most of the time. It builds bases, and a base is above other levels, all right? Other key spots. Right here broke out to new all-time high, and you based above the previous all-time high in a flag leg manner. And then you broke out. What does that tell you? Probably about to start another leg up. No reason to be, you know, short-term bearish coming into last week. And then also now, you know, we now got, you know, confirmation. Yeah, we are seeing that move. Okay. And, you know, you can pull back right here. You probably get bought up. I have to assume you're probably going higher in the short term though. All right. But DIA as support, you're watching 426.20. And then underneath there, the top of the range was 422.78. VIX. All right, guys. So I told you when we were up here, I was looking for a test of this guy right here. We've now gotten it. Now we get to see, are we going to get a, you know, little VIX spike off of this? I think it's just going to be a dead cat bounce. Maybe we get a short-term pullback. You know, I think we probably do start the week off with that. I know I just said, like, don't expect immediate downside next week. And I was just looking at the weekly charts. I, you know, stand by that. We're talking overnight to Sunday session. You could, you know, start that off by, you know, seeing NQ pullback, ES pullback. The VIX is going to spike. VIX futures going to spike. And then maybe, you know, Monday morning, maybe we get a market pullback and that pullback gets bought up. That would kind of be picture perfect to me. Like over here on the daily time frame on QQQ, what if we get, you know, what if we pull back in the bottom range? People are going to lose their mind. And the reality is just the bottom of the range. You already know buyers are stepping in 2 days in a row. Odds are they step in there. Daily 9 will be right under there. Maybe you sweep the low of the range, and then boom, that provides liquidity for a move up. That's, you know, kind of something that aligns with what I'm going over here on VIX. But, you know, regardless, we typically do get at least dead cat bounces when this daily 9 is tested. And, you know, I know there's not actual buyers and sellers here over on VIX, but I think it's very obvious. We could do technical analysis on VIX because we literally tie it into our, you know, our broader big picture point of view every single week. And yeah, that's why we knew we were probably going to be getting a VIX bounce over here if it pulled back into it. All right. Well, what happened? Now we get the same exact thing. Let's look for buyers there for now. So expect a, very short-term pullback. Why do I say very short-term? Because you just have a 15-minute bullish divergence. Typically do get these things right before it has a little bounce. It doesn't mean it's going to bounce a lot. But you can see price went lower right there. Price went, the RSI went higher right there. Well, we have that exact same thing going on right there. Okay. Price made a lower low. RSI made a higher high. We're probably about to see at least something. Okay, and it doesn't have to be crazy, but it's going to reset that oscillator, and this is going to pull the indices back. That's how these things work. Okay, so definitely something to keep in mind in the short term. If you see the pullback early on in the week, it is probably going to end up being a buying opportunity to go higher towards the end of the week. That's how I'm thinking. All right, or midweek, end of week rally. Okay, so that is VIX for you. We're going to go over the big boys now, the FANG stocks over here. We're going to try and run through these pretty quick. Apple, guys, we're going to keep it real simple here. You got this downtrend until you could break above 232.92 because you already had one false breakout from this downtrend. You do know it's being respected there. You have the rejection 3 days in a row. You know it's being respected. Break above here, you probably get up to 232.92. You break above there, though, you probably do see this move up to like 240-ish. That's what I'm watching over there in Apple. You pull back into 223.90. That is going to be your support. That's the bottom of this current range. This is the top of the current range. There you go. Microsoft, actually, I do want to point out, weekly chart doesn't look bad over here in Apple. You're literally holding above the weekly 9. That is something to take note of. Microsoft, I do want to point out that you closed out with this, pin bar looking candlestick over here. You're still underneath that daily 9, and I told you, there's no reason to really get short-term bullish on this thing until you can break above that. But I also do want to say I think you're about to break above that just because of how you were consolidating right under it. It reminds me of something like that. And I think we could get a pop above that. And then you're probably going to get that retest. That retest would be your short-term entry if you were, you play short-term calls. I don't know if any weekly traders out there. I don't like touching weeklies, but, whatever your forte is, use the technical analysis we share on this channel to fit your style. All right, so that's how that would go in the short term. But I do think we're probably going to get a move back up here to 425.86. Going to be the high rate over here. Okay, Gook, what do we got going on, guys? Weekly time frame. You did end up, kind of holding that weekly 9 over here. It's not the worst look in the world. You still just have that inverse head and shoulders. We knew about it before it actually pulled back, which is why I thought it was a very good idea to start taking profits as we came into major resistance over there. I'll do my best to remind you guys when these things are happening. If I'm pounding the table on something and then it runs a lot, we're going to, no financial advice will be given on this channel, but I do know that most people tend to be greedy. And I have, over the years, definitely gotten that hammered into my head that is a no-go. And if you expect sellers to step in somewhere, you have no reason not to take your profits. You just don't. All right. You had a chance of getting up here if you broke the level. Well, there's also the chance you came all the way back down here and maybe even over here. And we kind of, caught a ripperoonie over there. We got in right here on this day. There's no reason to not take profits there. But we also did know ahead of time before the actual pullback happened, we said we were going to be bullish on that pullback because it would just be creating a right shoulder for the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, picture perfect comes down here. You have the 0.618 fib from this whole rally here. You also have the equivalent low to this left shoulder over there at 156.60. So if 156.60 is tested, that is a major buying opportunity in my personal opinion. I think that is probably about to be, intermediate low before you run back up to 170. I'm also going to say it doesn't have to get down there, and it would be much stronger if you didn't get down there. If you just, held right here, this was your gap. This is why I say, use the gap as the high. Okay, there's an actual gap in price here, not the closing price, because as you see, price never got there. It didn't serve you. Okay, most of these things, they don't serve you. Okay, I will show you the things that do serve you, and they will do you well. You will have a good time. Break above that daily 9. You probably are going to get above 166.61, then make your ride back up to 170.41. The trigger here is going to be a daily close above that daily 9. If you can't get above it, you are still, short-term bearish here on Goog. That is that. You get above it, you're probably about to have a ripperoonie. All right, back up to 176. Amazon, what do we got going on over here, guys? We are cooking on Amazon. Came down to the buy zone. Congratulations if you're buying with us down there. I know it did not hit our 178.90, perfect level down there, but you did at the end of the day do a, SR flip, a, break and retest off this weekly 9. You flipped it into support over here, as well as this actual break and retest off of the 182.39 level right there. So, I'm really liking how this thing is looking. I think we were probably going to run up and take out this high in the short term. And that's just my opinion over here on Amazon. But yeah, levels, we are watching above 190.60. We have 195.37 and then 201. Now, again, you take your position here. You get up here. You're up. I don't care what position you have. You have anything early than November, you're up 100%. Take your freaking profits, okay? I don't want to tell anybody what to do with their money. No financial advice will ever be given on this channel, but I will definitely be that, a little reminder there that you got in down here. These are moves that, you just nailed it. Do not let the thing, just do what makes sense, okay? Do what makes sense. You nailed the move. You don't need to be a greedy little pig and wait for all the way up there. You could do whatever you want, but you have, let's say look at it in thirds. I like looking at things in thirds and fourths. Okay. If you have 4 cons, dude, take off freaking 3 right here. Let 1 ride. You have 2, take off 2 and let 1 ride. Do whatever makes you comfortable, but that is definitely going to be the wiser thing to do there. Support 187.41, heavily traded level right there. All right, found rejection right there. It should be a good spot if you come back to retest it. Daily 9 is going to be right there. Maybe we test it and print a daily hammer. That would be a nice little short-term entry for you if you want. Meta, what do we got going on, guys? You are consolidating right above the daily 9. You consolidated right over here, came back to test it, and then you launched up. I think that could be what's happening over here. Daily RSI looks like it could be about to go for a ride. But I do also want to say if it pulls back, guys, it's definitely a major buying opportunity. Let's just go over the levels over here. I know we got more than normal because you went for quite a ride. All right. Meta is volatile under 583.04. We have 577.40, 568.73, 562.35, 554.19. I don't personally think we're coming down right away. So let's talk about some upside. Above 594.39, we're probably going to take out 602.95 and then run to the next cycle level at, we're going to call it 605 and then 610. That's Meta for you. Tesla, this is one I want to talk about here. Okay. You did see this RSI heavily oversold over here. You typically do start getting at least your dead cat bounces for that. And if you are going to go lower, that's why I said dead cat bounce. Okay. But you still could very well get a $10 to $20 bounce from the low there, which would bring you anywhere from, 225, 227 up to like, 237 up there. My personal target for this bounce here is going to be 233.09. That was the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. As you could see, you broke down under it. So that's that. So that's Tesla. On the upside, we have 223.53. Sellers stepped in right before that level there. High of day was 223.34. So, literally by 20 cents there, 19 cents. I just do want to say above there, you have kind of nothing in between here and up there. So I do have to assume above 223.53, 233.09 is going to be, it's a move that could happen pretty quick. All right. So that is what we got right there. Now, what do we got, guys? What do we got? We have the semiconductors that I think are looking phenomenal. We'll kick it off with the semiconductor index, SMH over here. This is the ETF that covers all of them, which pretty much tracks them. We were bullish over here. You had a very bullish look here on the weekly time frame. Guess what? We now got that confirmation that yes, it was very bullish and we probably are going higher. I know you have decreasing volume along that. That is not the best look, but we have rallied with decreasing volume before and then it led to, volume spiking. I just want to say this looks gnarly. Okay. You have same thing as we point out on a lot of these charts here. You have that and you have that, and there's your neckline, and you rejected it, pulled back, flipped that weekly 9 into support, and then you got back above it. All right, you did close above 255.92. That was kind of the top of what the little zone I was calling your neckline here. It's technically the high of this weekly candlestick at 253.32. Either way, you had a breakout this week, so I do think this is probably going to lead to some further prices. If you get above 265.40, you're probably going to head up to 283.07. All right, so now let's talk about the actual, tickers that are going to be moving that thing. NVDA, I talked about it briefly before. It looks monstrous. Okay, big breakout here. We were tracking this thing, you know, all the way from. I mean, we track it constantly. We knew we did have this bullish structure going on ever since this dip over here. It created our literal right shoulder for the head and shoulders pattern. And this is your neckline. We've been watching it for a decent amount of time here. You finally started your move over here. We were pounding the table on it. And I just want to say this thing is probably going to continue higher up to 140.76. Above 136.15, high of this candlestick right here, you head to 140.76. If you pull back into 130.75, that is a nice break and retest short-term entry for you if you would like. Again, no financial advice, but I will call, you know, opportunity like I see it. And this is why, you know, I'd say this is a one-stop shop for, you know, all of a constant stock market needs. There isn't a channel that will, you know, walk you through it like this constantly every single week and every day of that week, except for Sundays. All right. So pull back into here. We like it. Daily 9 is going to catch up with price, probably print a hammer candlestick off of that. Maybe it spooks some people, and then you grab some liquidity over there to move back up. That's what we're watching. Okay, so that's the NVIDIA. AMD, I want to point out, big break and retest over here on the weekly. I love it. I love the setup. We're just going to go over support and resistance here. You did hold this level over here, so you got a break and retest off of here, but also that big weekly bull flag, that, you know, upper trend line there. You also found buyers off of that. Got back above the daily 9 here. Things are not looking bad in the short term. They're really not. Above 168.73, you're probably going to come up and fill that 174.53 gap, and then you can have 179.69 get hit above there. Okay. Support is 162.04 and 157.05. Avgo, what do we got, guys? You know, we keep calling this exactly like we see it. You have no reason to get bearish on this thing. You pull back into this. We called this out in the last video. This was going to be, you know, the potential buying opportunity here short term, because you are going to be at least getting that dead cat bounce off of your daily 9. We do not expect sellers to just tank you. Never just tank you through that thing. We don't expect it. We expect buyers. So if you were expecting buyers, you saw this thing at, you know, 179, and you're like, oh, god damn. And then you got to catch a move, you know, up to 183 intraday. Boom. Okay. Regardless, this thing looks really good. All right. So weekly time frame just popped up to new high. Even if you pull back into over here again, you're probably going to find buyers and then carry on up to a new all-time high. I mentioned in this, I think 210 to 220 is probably coming over here, considering you just have this massive double bottom and you just broke out of that. And if you take the measured move off of that, you're coming way higher. 210. Okay, so, you know, 200 to 210, we'll look for that. And those are my thoughts on Avgo. Pullbacks are buying opportunities, but we really would like to see buyers bring you up for another leg here, because you just pull back to your short-term moving average, and that's typically all you get if you are going to see a continued impulsive move. TSM, all right, looking nice, very nice. You know, inverse head and shoulders breakout and retest over here. Test that weekly 9, and now you're continuing above this upper wick. Typically, when we do something like this, we continue higher up to the next, you know, next swing high. I do think that is going to be the case here at 193.47. It's probably going to be hit this week. Again, I'm going to point out you have this decreasing volume. It's not like we haven't seen it before, but it is something to take note of. All right, but you know, you clearly can see this thing wants to take out 193.47. So that's what we pay attention to this week. On the downside, support is going to be 189.33, 185.94, and then 181.23. That's what we're paying attention to. But, you know, of course, 193, and then you got the 195 psych level above there, and then 200. That's what we're watching. ARM, looking phenomenal. All right, weekly time frame. You are looking phenomenal. You based in our heavily traded zone here. You flipped it from supply into demand. You held your uptrend there, and you are looking like you want to freaking go. All right. I am not saying it's just going to explode through this golden pocket, but I did point out that I think we probably have a move like that around the corner, and it can happen if, you know, around this 153.50 mark. It's technically 152.55, but you have the 0.618 fib right there. My point is, you have a range here of like 3 weeks. No, a whole month range. You're about to break to the upside out of that, and the range was $15. Well, take that. You're coming up here. 165 to 170 on deck. My opinion. Just my opinion. But that is what I'm seeing. Support is going to be $145. MU, how we looking, guys? You still just want to see a daily close above 111. But yeah, you are holding the daily 9. We said, hey, if you lose this thing, so you could get buyers here, because if you lose it, you're probably just going to come all the way back down there. And that didn't look like it was going to happen. Of course, we never know things, guys. We never know what's going to happen ahead of time. We don't have a crystal ball. We'd like to think we have a crystal ball, but we do not. We can just, look at price action and, what has happened in the past and how things are shaping up right now. Do we have what structure's going on? And right now, guys, you did take out that high after putting in that higher low over there. I do want to say this thing's probably going to start moving up. All right. So 111, you're watching for a daily close above there. From that point, you're looking for a move up to 127.27. SMCI, this is something I think is setting up right here. It's literally just, popped its head up above this high over here. So higher high over here on the daily time frame. And this could be your higher low. I also want to point out where you had these lower wicks. Guess what? It's at the top wicks right here, top of these wicks. So you had a range over here. It came back, retest that range. You found buyers on it. And now you are, you look like you could be about to ascend into the heavens here. And it's definitely something to keep on your radar. All right. So above 50 bucks, I think we could have a straight shot up here to this, 55-ish zone up here. And then above that zone, 59.53. All right. So now we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Then I have the 10 to 20 trade ideas that we're going to be watching into next week. All right. Weekly time frame, held the weekly 9. It does not look bad. This was the best case scenario that we were talking about. We were like, okay, unless, you're going to completely turn this around, we get a large lower wick to close out the week by this weekend. This is probably going to be coming down here and it's looking ugly. Guess what? You had that exact same scenario pop up. I didn't think it was going to happen, but you did. And, little did I know, MSTR was going to freaking shoot up to 210. Insane. All right. In freaking insane. But yeah, this thing is probably going to be going higher. You have this little double bottom kind of setup here. You're kind of breaking above that. Above 62,859, we have nothing until 65,103. So that is what we're going to be paying attention to. Probably do start moving up 65K. If so, these things are going to go for a ride. Coin, weekly time frame, put in a hammer candlestick. On the daily time frame, I do want to point out you got this little range here. You just broke above it. Above 175.39, you really have nothing until 191.21. And then we're watching 209.80. I have that candlestick right there. And then 223.03, that is where you really broke down from over there. All right, now MSTR, this is clearly the one that is, seeing all the strength here. We did not get our crazy, amazing buying opportunity. I said, I don't care what Bitcoin's doing. I will buy this thing. This looks so bullish to me. We got that pullback. Oh, all right. But guess what? You actually just pulled back to the daily 9 short-term moving average, and you carried on your way just like you did over here and just like you did over here. And now you did it again, unfortunately. Not unfortunate if you were in it, but, I wanted to play this bad boy. I haven't played it since all the way down here when we saw the initial setup. And yeah, I didn't play this thing. So I do wish, but it is what it is. What I do want to point out is you have this massive range you just broke out from. That's definitely something to be very bullish on. If you pull back into 183.70 or 200, those are your buying opportunities here in the short term. You probably do find buyers there. And if I have to guess, you could just pull back to 200, break and retest off of right here where you pull back. And then with all likelihood, your daily 9 is going to catch up to right here. And then maybe you put in like a hammer candlestick, get a lower wick just like over there. And then you continue higher. That is honestly how I think this thing is probably going to go. I did say that this thing very clearly can, get impulsive buying and go on, massive rippers. Well, guess what? We didn't see that during this. This was just consolidation before that. You guys want to see a chart that used to look exactly like that? Right here. All right. It was NVDA. And, I remember being a hater on NVIDIA because I was just like, oh my God, it keeps going higher. But then, it did this thing. And, I'm just going to say MSTR literally looks just like that, except on a larger scale here. You have a range of $100. This thing could be headed to freaking $300 with that measured move. That's going to be insane. So that's what I'm watching over in MSTR. Mara, guys, how we looking? You did have the weekly hammer candlestick, back-to-back bullish candlesticks, all right, with the lower wick being, pretty decent there. Above 1672, you're probably going to come revisit this high, but also just revisit the next high at 1884. And then above there, you have 1991. And then if things really heat up, $22 is that 0.618 fib. TSLA, guys, you did start catching a bit over here. Same look as Mara, break above 975. You probably start going for a ride. That from there, you have, 7% move up to 1047. And then the next one we're going to be paying attention to is actually going to be right there at 11.35. Above there, 12.75. And we'll go over Riot just because I know people are probably trading it. Honestly, this doesn't look bad. This looks way better than Mara or CLSK. Why do I say that? You have an inverse head and shoulders pattern, and the fact that, you came down here and you have this higher, low over here. Well, let's look at what happened with Mara. All right. This kind of looks like crap. It's the same. You're in the same range. Okay. Whereas Riot, you're not doing that. You had this little area down here and you already started breaking above that. And now I do want to say you probably are going to be continuing higher to around, this spot right up here. That is just what's standing out to me. It's going to be right there at 1088. Okay, so you break above here, you have pretty much nothing until here. Okay, so break above 855. That's going to be, really where your inverse head and shoulders neckline is. And then you probably are going to, be pushing. All right, pushing and pushing and pushing. All right, let's go over those trade ideas. Let's do it. Let's do it, dude. First things first, we're going to quickly run through the ones we already covered. Just, those heavily traded tickers. We cover the most active, tickers on the New York Stock Exchange every week here. All right, so we constantly do have trade setups in those. I just want to point them out so everyone knows them clearly. I know we talked about a bunch of tickers right there, like 20-something tickers. Guess what? All right, now we're going to talk about the things that, really have the setups and what you're going to be paying attention to, okay? Break above, I'm going to have my alert right here, break above 232.94, and I do think we probably are going to be breaking that. If you come up tested, you're probably going to break it, and then I do think we're going to come up, break that high, and then run to around 240, all right? So that's something I'm paying attention to. Microsoft, this is another one, break above 419.88 here. You probably have a straight shot up to 425. That is a short-term setup for you if you want to take advantage of that. Why do I say 1498? Well, first of all, it is a level that we're seeing reactions here, 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 here. That's like 5 reactions. Get above it, you probably get another reaction there in a bullish manner, just like that. But I also really just want to see you get a daily close above that daily 9. And then you probably do end up just running to 425.86. So that's that. Tesla, dead cat bounce. All right, that's the play over here. We're not talking anything crazy. You could get a massive move up here, but at the end of the day, you probably are just going to see that move, at least something like that. So that is what I'm here for. That is what I'm going to call out as the trade idea here. Not saying we're going to get a massive ripper back up, and run to 300. I really want to see it happen. All right. But as you see, this thing's not the prettiest looking right now. And yeah, I'm just going to be playing that dead cat bounce from this point on. So that is my move up to 233.09. Okay. SMCI, this is the next one we just talked about. Semis are really setting up here. I think this is one that has not gone at all. Really haven't, but it did give us our hint that it's finally starting to change. All right. The tide is starting to change. You pushed up to that weekly 9. You haven't done it the whole time. You finally tested it. Okay. I think you probably break above it next week. But what really stands out is this daily time frame. You even pulled back to your 0.618 fib right here and held that daily 9, and you're breaking retest level, and you are finding buyers pushing you back up. You take out 50.07, probably having a straight up move to here, and then maybe even here. That is quite a ride. All right. Quite a ride. There you go. Have fun with it. AMD, this is the other chip name that we have another one right after this that we'll talk about. But break and retest potential. I really like this one above 168.73 in the short term. You probably do see that move. So that is what I'm paying attention to. TSM. All right. I just want to say, all right, I'm not going to give a specific trade plan for this one or anything like that. The trade plan I gave was here and then here. I gave you 2 weeks in a row. We had, good opportunity over here. Well, we had more. Okay. We had 3 opportunities here because we knew this pullback was probably just going to be right shoulder. So we called it out here, and then we called it out on the breakout. So it was probably going to get a little bit, so we technically called out 4 along this whole thing. We called it out over here. We called it out on the breakout. We called it out on the retest. And then we called it coming into this week right here above 180.23. That's why these gray levels exist. They were on the focus list. All right. So I'm not going to give you a trade plan because you don't really have anything to go off over here on TSM at the moment. I can just say you got so close to right here that it makes no sense that you're not going to take it out. See how you got so close that week? Well, what happened the next week? You end up having a, $8 move there, and you took out that high. Yes, you pulled back right after that, but you took out that high. I'm targeting this high. That's what I'm looking for in TSM. Coin, this is the Bitcoin name that I think is probably about to, get some play some catch up. All right, MSTR, it's at all-time highs. All right, MSTR ran without Bitcoin, and now it's going to run even more with Bitcoin. I think coin is probably just going to run with Bitcoin. Okay, get above that weekly 9. All right, then we're probably going to start a move up here. So get above, we're just going to say 190, 121. You probably do end up starting a move all the way up there to 223. So that is going to be a short-term price actually that I'm paying attention to on coin. Now we'll start the tickers that we did not talk about yet. Roblox, guys, we talked about it last week. You said it's probably going to find buyers either here or on that retest. You did not hold right here. You did end up printing a big fat dragonfly doji candlestick with increasing volume right off of that downtrend right there that you broke, which actually was an inverse head and shoulders pattern. You can't see that. I will just point it out right here for you. All right, there you go. Break and retest. Okay, from here, I am looking for buyers to reclaim this weekly 9 over here, and I think you're probably going to go for another ride, and you have the chance to come back all the way back up here, take out the high, and then I think you probably do make your way up to these upper two levels, 49.91 and 53.88. But yeah, really, guys, get above 42.66. Probably do get a move back up to 44.85. So that's your short-term move you're paying attention to. Regardless, I mean, this is something we typically see when we clearly can see buyers are stepping in here. And, you know, it doesn't have to lead into anything crazy. It really doesn't. But this chart has been cooking for quite some time. And I think it's right before it's about to actually do the thing it's been cooking for. Been preparing for the style move. I don't think it's stuck in this crap anymore. I think it's finally about to get out of it. So it's definitely on the radar, and that is that. Next one we're talking is CLF. Just broke this big downtrend. You have a bunch of touch points here. You have a 1, you have a 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 6. You broke and retest that. You got above the weekly 9. I think this is about to go. Increasing volume on that hammer candlestick. This is definitely going to be something that you want to put on your radar. If you are, you know, following along with this channel, I'm just going to say this is probably the cleanest chart we're going to point out in this video. This is absolutely sexy looking, okay? Get above 1339, you probably get a straight shot up to 1410. Now, in terms of what we're going to be playing here, all right, expect sellers here in the golden pocket. Now, at the end of the day, it probably is going to end up getting up to the 1650 area. This is around the 50% retracement of this whole move. That is a level that really stands out to me. You can even see it on the weekly time frame here. This is where you broke out, break and retest right there. So get above 14, and you know you have the likelihood of running up to 1650. TLT, this one we called out, you know, as you know, potentially coming down here. If the zone broke, you did end up coming down here. Now we're coming into, you know, intersecting trend lines here. 0.618 fib, daily RSI is, you know, also like heavily oversold already. You're at 26.99. We are probably about to see buyers start stepping in, you know, again down here. So that is something that I'm paying attention to. I will watch for that reaction. We've seen that reaction off these golden pockets a lot of times. I don't have it on the chart. We have an initial reaction right here. That's a big one. That's kind of like what we have right there. But then after that bounce, how would you just play it in the short term? You, from this move to there, that's a golden pocket test. From that move to there, that's a golden pocket test. From that move to there, that's a golden pocket test. And then you just broke out of that downtrend you went. I'm not going to put it on the chart, but that is exactly how that went. And that is, you know, probably we're going to keep seeing these patterns pop up. All right. But big inverse head and shoulders, break and retest right here, as well as this big uptrend test. Okay. So I like it. Maybe you know, sweep this right here and print like a hammer, or whatever you print. Actually, I'm just going to point out right now, you don't look like you give any clues that you're about to bounce back. You kind of just, you know, print an ugly candlestick into a key spot, and then you start gapping up. Gap up, gap up, gap up, gap up. Nah, you did not. You gap down, and then you still, well, yeah, technically you started gapping up there. And then there, gap up. Over here, you didn't get a gap up. All right, but you know, I'm just saying, candlestick chart, daily candlestick chart, you're probably not going to get a signal. That's what I'm pointing out. All right, next one is D King. I like the weekly chart over here. You're breaking, retesting that big downtrend we've talked about for a while there. You're also getting buyers stepping in 2 weeks in a row on this weekly 9 retest. Happens to be a big confluence spot right here. I like what I'm seeing here. I think you're about to get a move back up to 42.31. So put it on your radar if you'd like. That is something you could pay attention to. BA, this one is a garbage stock. People are going to be mad that I'm calling it a garbage stock, but you know, I called it last time. I called it garbage stock. I said it was breaking out right here. All right, and guess what? I said, you know, every bullish setup I call out over the past few months on this thing, it just gets faded. What happened? It got freaking faded after I got roasted on Twitter for calling it a garbage stock. I'm just going to tell you right now, the thing does not want to respect the, you know, bullish structure we see getting put in, and breakouts do not get respected. This thing is, you know, a hit or miss over here. You found, you know, this bullish engulfing candlestick with decent volume here, right off your 0.786 fib from this whole entire move here. You probably do get buyers stepping in here in the short term, but again, we have so many trade ideas that we talk about every single week that have such clean charts that you can make such consistent money on. You can just not focus on the garbage stocks. And I only say it's garbage, not saying the company's garbage. I'm telling you right now, we talk about price action. Right? We're not talking about long-term investing here. We're talking about price action. Anytime we see a bullish setup over here, the thing gets faded. So just keep that in mind. I will continue to refer to this as a garbage stock for that reason, because it's not something that gives consistent, you know, price action. Doesn't. It gives a bunch of fake outs. It's garbage in the short term until it actually turns around, which we're very clearly going to see it turn around, because what's going to happen, you're going to take out this high right here. Okay. You're going to finally make a higher high on the daily time frame, and you just haven't been doing it, right? You had a little ripper over here after you broke out of that range. Well, guess what? You have this low here. Well, we have an equal high. You break above 158.43. It's pretty obvious that you're probably going to start seeing a bigger bounce here. That's why I said it's going to be obvious when this thing actually turns around. Someone was arguing with me on Twitter. You know, it's not rocket science. Just be patient and wait. It will present itself to the whole entire market. It's not, oh, I caught it first. Oh, I'm a genius. No, the whole market is going to see it go when it goes. And I will point it out. Okay. I'll do you one better. I'll have an alert right here. Okay, so I'll definitely point it out when it happens on these videos. Diz, guys, Diz is kind of, you know, just consolidating in a bullish manner there. I do like the weekly chart, though. Held the weekly 9 after flipping it there. And you're breaking retest level. I think you are starting to, you know, see this turn a new page here. And I think you're going to be pushing back up to 97.57 in the short term, and then 127. That is that. Okay, Schwab, what do we got, guys? We got our, you know, what looked like to be a big bear flag, but in reality, it was just a pennant, and you broke to the upside. You got back above that daily 9. Pullbacks are buying opportunities. If you pull back in 65 bucks, I like it. All right, I'm actually just going to point this one out. We'll actually just have this. We're going to do that. Okay. Pull back into that zone. We like it. But you do have a fresh breakout, and you're probably coming up to 69.47. That is where you broke down from. So that's what I'm paying attention to. And above there, 70 bucks, 0.618 FIP, 70.70. Oxy, guys, this one you're going to have to be patient on, but you did have that crazy volume come in. All right. Heaviest volume you've really had in a while here. And you got back above the weekly 9. You held it here. And I do think it's something like that on a larger scale that we're going to, you know, over the coming weeks, maybe see something like that. But, you know, I'm also going to say caution. I saw something on Twitter saying that hedge funds are selling crude the most they have since like 08 or something like that. So also just keep that in mind. We have a bunch of setups that we know like are on our side. This is one that I'm going to literally say, you know, after hearing that, I don't want to be really long on this thing. All right. I wasn't, you know, trying to take a crazy position over here on it before, but now I'm just going to say we have a bunch of other things that we could pay attention to. We don't have to watch something that might have odds against us. We don't have to. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But I do think it is looking good for a move up to 58 bucks, 58.50 up there. TLH, I just want to point out, heaviest volume you've ever had flow into it this week. I don't care how it really closed on the week. I do care that you had this big day here. Yes, you pulled back, but you're going to be above that daily 9. You probably do get buyers stepping in. And again, I want to point out, you had all of this going on. The fact that you have this volume spike here shows that interest is finally coming back into the stock. People are trading it, whether it be bearish or bullish, people are actually trading it. My guess is they're taking the bullish positions, considering you have that, you know, weekly RSI trying to turn, you know, it's starting to turn up off of oversold territory here. Right as you come into your weekly demand zone here, and you just missed 28.08 support there. I think this thing is about to run. I think we have room up to 48.11. Your resistance is 33.06. Let me just go over that. 33.06, 35.99, 42.52, and then 48.11 is that big spot I just mentioned. We're actually going to take out everything above it just because we don't need it. But yeah, big downtrend break, something I am heavily paying attention to here. And I think it would, you know, not be the worst idea to put it on your radar. All right. Upstart, guys, we talked about it. This pullback was just going to create the handle. We talked about it ahead of time, and now you have came up and breached that high, which just kind of confirmed that yes, this is a cup and handle pattern. We're probably about to see a move on this thing, similar to this size here. I think above here we have a straight shot up to 72.58. All right, so above 49.62. Literally straight shot up to 72.58. Doesn't have to go straight up there, but this thing has been known to rip, and I think we're about at that time. We called it out when it was basing over here. We said, you know, it potentially is getting ready for something like that. Little did I know, it literally did do something like that. It trolled me over here. It's got the fake out. I thought it was going to break out on that one, and then boom, you had that. And, you know, guys, I'm just going to say, I think this is the consolidation before we kind of see an equivalent move to this. All right, I think we very likely can see a big move over here on Upstart. IWM looks like it's going to explode. I really like this setup. SoFi, how we looking, guys? Same scenario over here. Small caps are ripping. We called this one out last week. But yeah, I like it up to 950. And I think it's probably going to go higher than that. But, you know, big breakout over here. Expect sellers over here. And then if it pulls back, it's another buying opportunity. Affirm, same situation, guys. Small caps are getting ready to go. You pulled back. You found, you know, support off that weekly 9. Break and retest off that level right there, 37.88. I really like this setup. Again, with the whole inverse head and shoulders / cup and handle patterns. We have a massive one, and I think it is just getting ready to go past this neckline here. And if you can break above there, we're probably going to have a move up to 80-something bucks. What I'm watching. All right. Hood, kind of same look to it. But yeah, big break and retest over here, and you filled that fair value gap over here. If you invert this thing and you start getting above it, that is this on the weekly time frame, guys. You probably are going to start making a bigger move up here to 33 bucks. That's where you originally broke down from at yeah, right over here, 33.25. So that's what I'm paying attention to. Pull back into 24.88 is a buying opportunity in my personal opinion. All right, RSOT, Ross Stores, guys. This is something someone actually requested. It was a tick request. And I'm just going to say, I am fond of this setup. All right. So printing a hammer candlestick, weekly hammer with increasing volume off of that uptrend. Daily time frame, though, you are underneath that daily 9, but you're also pushing that downtrend right there. If you break above the downtrend and the weekly 9, you probably are going to start a large move up to 149. I know it's not much, but you know, you could see very clean price action if you can get above this spot right here. You're probably going to have a nice clean move up to here. That's what I got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys make so much freaking money this week. You definitely have the info that you need to make some educated decisions going into this week on what you would like to trade. All right, we have a multitude of setups available to us, and I hope you guys do very well with that information. Okay, we're actually just going to come over here, and you know, for any futures trader, I know I didn't give you guys anything today. I will point out right here, break and retest off of NASDAQ. You look like you're coming up here. All right, take out this high. There you go. Take out this high. You probably are going to start pushing up here. All right. So, you know, just know the trend will be your friend till the end. And that is 400 points that the trend will be up for. And dips are going to be buying opportunities. Wait for your setups to come. And I think the long setups to come, I think you're going to have a good time this week. ES over here, same thing, break and retest. You know, I'm not going to give it any targets on the upside for this, but I will definitely say this thing is looking really juicy right here, and I like it. If you pull back into this zone right here, there's your clear as day buying opportunity. All right, and it's going to be right there we're watching. Okay, so 5808 to 5830. That's your break and retest zone. You already got the pullback, so I don't think it's going to happen, but that is that. RTY. Guys, this thing is probably going to get some a lot of upside action. I think this is something that, yeah, all right, I'm not saying it blindly, just long this thing, but this thing just started. It's going to get another ripperoonie. This thing could just keep paying, and it's probably going to have some impulsive moves this week. There you go. YM, fresh break and retest off that range. I really like it. All right, guys, so that is what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys kill it next week. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Tell your family members and friends that you love them and remind them of that because they are all you got. And yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.